Hello everyone, welcome back to The Informants. In this video, we're going to discuss the various types of fighter jets or combat aircrafts that the Indian Air Force operates. The Indian Air Force currently operates 7 distinct types of fighter aircrafts or combat aircrafts. Of these 7 types, one has now become obsolete and as a result has been phased out from the Indian Air Force, which means that this aircraft will no longer be in service anymore. The aircraft that we are talking about, the one that is phased out, is the MiG-21. This MiG-21 was primarily designed to be an interceptor, which means it was designed specifically to take on enemy aircrafts or fighter jets or combat aircrafts in the sky and deal with them in the sky. It did have the capability to drop air-to-ground payloads or ordinances, but it was specifically built to fight in the sky. This aircraft is also of Russian origin. It was a single-seat, single-engine aircraft. It had a single tail fin and its engine air intake was right in the middle of its nose. Next, we shall talk about the Su-30 MKI. The I in the MKI stands for the Indian variant of the aircraft. There are other variants of the aircraft as well, for example the MKM, which is present with the Malaysian Air Force. But this aircraft is also of Russian origin and is built, the Indian variant, which is built to India's specific needs, is built under license within India itself. It is currently known as the backbone of the Indian Air Force as it's not only one of the most capable aircrafts within the IAF's inventory up until the point the Rafales arrived, but it is also an aircraft which is present in large numbers within the Indian Air Force's inventory. Unlike the MiG-21, which was predominantly an interceptor as mentioned before, the Su-30 MKI is a multi-role aircraft. It can perform a host of missions from air-to-air, air-to-ground, electronic warfare, so on and so forth. It is also an air superiority fighter with mid-air refueling capabilities, which can extend the duration of this aircraft to more than 10 hours in a single sortie once it is refueled mid-air, giving this aircraft the capability to stay in air for a long time and therefore dominate the airspace for a longer time and therefore establish itself as an air superiority fighter. This is the twin-seat fighter jet. This also has 2 very critical capabilities which are very distinct from a lot of other aircrafts. For example, the canards, which give it super mobility and one of the most distinguishing features of this aircraft. The second aspect is thrust vectoring, which gives the aircraft the ability to move its thrust nozzles up and down, which almost 90 degrees, which help the aircraft to be highly maneuverable and thus perform the very special maneuver known as the Cobra. Next, we shall talk about the Packet Jaguar. This is a twin-jet fighter jet. It comes in both single-seat and dual-seat configuration. It is an Anglo-French origin aircraft. It was originally conceived or designed to perform close air support roles or ground attack roles, but was later modified to fight in the air too. This was used as a deep strike bomber and used for close air support operations and for the support of ground forces. Next, we shall talk about the LCA Tejas. This one is a very special aircraft for a lot of Indians because it is built specifically in India indigenously. It's one of a kind. It's a single engine aircraft. There is currently another Tejas naval variant under testing too. It is the smallest fighter jet in the IAF's inventory in terms of its size. This is also a multi-role aircraft, which means even this aircraft can do a host of other missions from air to air, air to ground, mid-air refueling and many more such operations. Currently, Tejas is going to replace the MiG-21 fighter jets in the IAF's inventory or arsenal. Then we will talk about the MiG-29 aircraft. This is a twin-jet fighter jet. This is also a multi-role aircraft. It has its intake under the body of the aircraft, unlike the MiG-21 that we had discussed before. This has 2 fins instead of a single fin, like the Su-30 MKI. This was initially developed by Russia in response to the F-15s and F-16s of the US. So from this we can easily say that this aircraft is also of Russian origin. Now we'll talk about Mirage 2000. This is a French origin aircraft. This is a single engine aircraft. It is a multi-role aircraft and most notable Indian use of this aircraft was in the bombing of Pakistani bunkers in Kargil using a laser guided bomb. This is a very capable air-to-air combat fighter as well as it can perform a host of air-to-ground roles. Now finally, let's look at the Rafale. This is the latest addition in the Indian Air Force's inventory and perhaps the most capable and advanced fighter jet in the Indian Air Force's inventory at the moment. There are currently 36 in numbers. This is also a multi-role fighter jet. This is a plane that has canards as well, like the Su-30 MKI. It is a French origin. After the Su-30 MKI, this is also a very capable fighter jet. With that said, in effect, out of the 7 combat aircrafts, 5 of them are multi-role aircraft. One of them is an interceptor if we count the MiG-21, and one of them is used predominantly for ground attack roles. So we can call it more on the side of a ground attack aircraft, although it can do air combat as well. Now, if we count the MiG-21, the IAF operates about 3 combat aircrafts of Russian origin, 2 of French origin, 1 of British origin, and 1 of Indian origin. With that said, thank you for watching, and I hope this was helpful.